I am only excited because this episode was fire. I have to say, the mid-season break was the worst thing that Amazon could have done with this series.
It made sense to me. If you tried to grow and kill somebody who had like a really hardened, thickened skin, then you might be the one that pays the price for that, not them. You know,
It was something that I didn't even consider. So when it happened, I was like, my God, the outfit
so
that
cool.
Andrew likes so much.
Ryan Otley is so sick. Like, look at the detail. Look at Mark's calves. Look at the shading on the shadows on the actual outfit.
The heroes on Earth. I'm sure they got it covered.
Oh, we're back, baby. Invincible is here. Welcome to Backseat Directing.
We talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
We're your hosts,
Andrew
and Aaron.
We put out new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
And on this episode, we're going over the newest episode of Invincible.
You have to think, Mark. 3, 2, 1, action.
Invincible's back, baby. And I am only excited because this episode was fire. I have to say, the mid-season break was the worst thing that Amazon could have done with this series.
Yeah, I've heard some pretty despicable theories for why they did that.
And I want to get into them because it's very interesting. It's very wild that they waited this long to put out season 2, and then they only gave us 4 episodes, and then took, what was it, November? So they took off December, 4 months. They took off like 4 months.
It's literally like despicable to do to split an 8-episode season. I know that they're long, they're like 50-minute episodes, but to split an 8-episode season, that's nothing. You're going out crumbs.
All momentum and hype for this season just down the trash.
Absolutely, dude. I was sat in my seat ready to go when the first episode of Invincible came out. I've been waiting so long.
Yeah.
So ready and excited for the Adam Eve special, so ready for episode 1 of season 2. And then for this one, I was like, I watched it the day after it came out, which is still a pretty quick turnaround, but like...
Before we were like in our seats, like an hour before it was released. You know,
like when's it like refreshing Amazon.
Yeah, we were like so excited. We read all 144 issues. We were talking about this off air that we have to be in the top like 2 or 3% of fans for Invincible.
This behind me, I'll show it to the camera. I bought a ticket to Comic-Con, went to Comic-Con, got this comic book that I purchased separately with Battle Beast to be signed by Ryan Otley. Then I paid to have it.
Paid money. Like he goes to work, he makes money, and he gives it to Invincible.
This was like $150, like just paying to have it, graded. So I paid to have it sent off and rated by CGC. That is how much I love Invincible. And they still kind of killed my hype for season 2 coming back.
Andrew barely even remembered that it was coming out this last week.
Well, they didn't do any promotion either.
They barely did, but
didn't see
since
anything.
then they've been posting out a bunch of stuff since the first episode.
I mean, I follow them on like TikTok, and I mean they post every now and again, like the Invincible HQ posts, but still, like it's not like I'm scrolling through every single ad that I see.
Well, even the first Thursday that it dropped, there was nobody talking about it on TikTok. No one. And when the first episode dropped, I feel like everyone was like, hey, Invincible's coming out this week. Invincible's coming out this week.
A little bit after it dropped, I started to see some conversation. Like I've seen a lot of posts about Rexplode and his like big moment in the episode.
So before we dive into the episode, I want to talk about some of these theories that are going around. What have you heard of the reason that they took this mid-season split?
So from what I understand, there's 2 explanations for why Invincible took a mid-season split. One of them being that they wanted to give people like a break so that the show would be split up and have more time pass so that they could finish up season 3. And then by the time season 2's done, you wouldn't have to wait as long as we had to wait for season 2. That season 3 would be readily available maybe in a year, like a normal show run. That is kind of if you look at it through rose-colored glasses. But if you look at a lot of the other details around it, it seems more nefarious. Because when we were watching in November, you'll notice that there was not ads on Prime. So they took one of their biggest properties, which Invincible and The Boys, I think, are pretty obviously Prime Video's two biggest properties, and they really pushed out months. Who does this? Like,
They didn't even give us a date that it would return when they took this break.
a lot. Like I've seen shows take a week or two break for the holidays. I've seen,
Sure.
or like some of the CW shows would take a mid-season break when they're putting out like 22 episode
yeah.
seasons.
Not the same.
On an 8-episode season, to take that break, it definitely seems motivated. And not only does it give them the opportunity to play one of their biggest shows with ads now that they've added ads to the platform, but it also made people pay for a lot of months if people weren't planning to just cancel their subscription and restart it. People who specifically watch Invincible, they probably waited around for a couple months not knowing when Invincible was going to drop and purchased like 5 months of Amazon Prime Video instead of 1 or 2.
So this is how rumors start, because I did not do my research on this, but I'm pretty sure they had most of, if not all of season 3, like kind of in the works. Like it would have still been a much quicker turnaround. Like I really do think that it's kind of for the ads, right? For them to.
It had to have been a quicker turnaround because of the fact that they greenlit season 2 and 3 at the same time.
Yeah.
When they finished animating season 1, the other seasons weren't greenlit. When they finished animating season 2, it had been greenlit for over a year. So you could have just give them a vacation and then get right back into it.
Also, like, I would have rather have just waited all the way till March to watch the whole season come out than take that mid-season break. Give us the Adam Eve special back in November. You know, I've already waited 2 years. You know,
A couple more months.
yeah.
What will you have?
Nothing.
5 more months.
But anyways, how was this episode? Even though your motivation and hype was a little bit lower than it should have been.
It completely reinvigorated my excitement for the show as soon as I watched it.
We're back.
I was locked in. Like, my mother called me, and I was like, "Mom, I'm sorry.
I can't.
I've still got 15 minutes left in this episode of Invincible.
I'm surprised you even answered. That's crazy.
I'm a good son, but not a good enough son to stop watching the show." But so I hung up and I finished.
Gotta go in the middle of a fight right now.
Some good stuff was happening. It was really, really good, and it felt like. I feel like the second half of Invincible is where the second half of the season is where they hit their stride. You know, in the first season too. The first episode and last episode, I've said, bookend the show, best 2 episodes of the series in the first season.
Yep,
but
agreed.
the second half, they really start to pick up steam and they can build on because Mark's got his powers, Mark's got his suit by then. You know, they've established all these relationships with him and Eve. So I think the same thing in this show. They've established a lot more conflict with everything that happened on the Thraxan planet. And boy, as soon as I saw my boy in the Thraxan outfit, I remembered how cool it is to see him in different uniforms in the comic.
Yeah.
Because in the show, we've seen
They do it well.
They do it so good.
Yeah.
And the show, all we saw so far was like school attire and then like the Invincible suit and then maybe it's like a tattered Invincible suit. But in the comics, he's worn so many different outfits and the Galaxy, I don't want to spoil things for people who haven't read it, but there's one where it's like the same thing as Avengers, Captain America, where he's just got the patch on his arm from the Federation of Planets. It's so cool. But the Thraxan uniform with he's got like the little skirt on and stuff. Like he looks cool, man. It's a cool fit. I was so pumped when I saw him wearing that and carrying the giant boulders around, fixing the planet. That kicked off the episode so nicely for me.
It was. The episode started very modest. He was finishing up, helping restore Thraxan. And then he Thraxa, sorry. And then he came back to Earth with his brother.
Yeah.
And showed up to his mom's house and was like, "Hey, you have a stepchild." Or a half child.
Man, you guys,
or whatever. He has a step brother.
yeah.
And he's got to take care of him now. But he'll age really quick. But he's purple. So like
I think he'd be
can't bring him to daycare.
brother, not a step brother.
I know.
You still got it wrong. You said step brother. Aaron does a lot of Aaron does a lot of thinking about step brothers, but
Yeah. Family trees, man. They're hard.
it kicks off so much stuff in the comics that like I don't want to spoil for anybody. Maybe we'll have a comic spoiler section at the very end of the episode where we can talk about like predictions and stuff. But bringing back I can't even remember his name. I don't want to say his superhero name because that's a spoiler. But bringing back his little brother
Oh yeah.
is so exciting. So many different avenues.
Oliver?
All the way, Oliver. Thank you. Like all the way down to the end of the comics. Like so many different avenues that branch off from here. You know, bringing Eve back into the fold and then getting into the Sequids. Like I feel like this arc on the Martian ship with the Sequids is where Mark really like asserts himself and starts to take more of like a leadership role, because we've seen him be rebellious so far to Cecil, but we haven't really seen him in like a leadership role. Like, and I feel like he's got room for so much growth from what we've seen in the comics. I'm just so excited to talk about the comics part at the end of the episode.
So what are the two major catastrophes that are going on right now? As like Rex said in one of the teasers.
There's not going to be two world-ending disasters at the same time. So one of them is that the Lizard League is attacking like a nuclear silo, and they're basically holding it hostage to get what they want from the U.S. government. Otherwise, they're going to launch nuclear attacks around the world. So like they infiltrated it, took it over, and now the Guardians of the Globe, or the remaining members that are still on Earth, are trying to get in there and stop them before that they can, you know, cause mayhem and chaos. And then extraterrestrially, if that's a word, the other members of the Guardian, like the heavy hitters that left Earth, along with Invincible, Adam Eve, they are going off to stop the Martian ship that's coming towards Earth filled with Sequids, because there's a Sequid that is in the body of a U.S. astronaut, and now they have like this large hive mind where they, since they can control one host, they can like work together, and they're like this giant tidal wave of tiny Sequids that are like really powerful. I guess similar to like Big Hero 6, how all those little magnet things come together and make like big, powerful creations.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
comparison.
I feel like that works.
Yeah.
But so that's like the crux of the episode. And then Mark coming back to Earth, meeting back up with all his family members, bringing his brother back, meeting William, explaining everything to Amber, dropping off Oliver with his mom.
Amber, she's got a lot of patience, that girl.
Yeah, and she didn't
imagine
she didn't have as much patience in the comics.
your like boyfriend, girlfriend, just leaving for 2 months, coming back, and then leaving again. And it's not like he's going to another state. He's going to another planet.
But they added the detail that her grandfather died while he was gone, just to like show how like time passes and things happen on Earth without him. And it's a detail not in the comics. I think it's part of these little tidbits that they add to the show that are like show good growth as a writer for Kirkman. Yeah, good depth, like developing the other characters, showing how they have lives outside of, even though the main story follows Mark, they have their own lives. When she started talking to him and she was like, yeah, stuff was pretty rough for me while you were gone. I was like, how rough? Like he was saving a planet. Like what happened to you? And then she was like, my grandpa died. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. I was like, she was going through some shit and he wasn't there for her. So like, that's fair. Also, when she said that, he immediately made it about himself. He did not ask her like anything about her grandfather passing. He immediately went like, oh man, like, he's like, I thought I had it tough dealing with my family issues. Like, and then she was like, she started comforting him. I was like, man, this guy's a shit boyfriend. Like, he's terrible.
He really is. He's got a lot of growth to still do in this series.
I think he becomes a lot more mature.
Yeah, he does. What about Rex? So Rex is kind of the, what's the word? You're like filling in leader for the Guardians right now.
Interim?
Yeah. He is the one that's quote unquote in charge, the ranking officer, if you will, as they're going to fight the Lizard League. Let's talk about this fight because it was awesome.
Yeah, it was super bloody. We get to see Rex's like abilities kind of more on display, because I feel like a lot of what we got from him so far is kind of like an explosion that like leaves a cloud of smoke against a stronger opponent. But this fight against the Lizard League got intense. They were saying like, we thought the Lizard League was the B team, but the Lizard League was bringing it and really messing them up. They were tearing apart Kate clones.
Dude, it looked like they didn't stand a chance. They looked very heavily outmatched.
It was Shrinking Ray, Duplicate, and Rex Blood.
Yeah, versus 3 others that were fighting, and then the
one in the
Lizard
shadows.
League. Yeah,
the Lizard Boy.
Yeah,
I think it's called like the Prince or something. But man, the comeback was awesome. It's a very bloody fight. It's visceral the way we see the different Kates torn apart. Like it's devastating.
dude, just ripped apart one after that guy. I don't know his name, but he's crazy, right?
Fighting people, like cannibalizing people like crazy.
What'd you think of the Shrinking Ray scene?
It's a funny play on what everyone says about Ant-Man and Thanos. It's a funny reference, but like, I thought it made sense to me if you tried to grow and kill somebody who had like a really hardened, thickened skin, then you might be the one that pays the price for that, not them. You know,
It was something that I didn't even consider. So when it happened, I was like, my God,
and
this guy is crazy.
that could be exactly what happened to Thanos, or with the Thanos scenario too. If Ant-Man tried to grow, and Thanos obviously is incredibly durable. If the soft shell of Scott just tried to grow, and maybe he's the one that pays the price.
That's crazy. I was like, oh, we're back, baby. Invincible is here.
Dude, that bulging neck of the person that she tried to grow, and then
I think
spits blood and smiles.
I think it was Zach in our group chat, and he was asking, why didn't she just shrink back down? And probably because she's like stuck, right?
Yeah, it's probably like she has to control the shrinking and growing, right? It's not instinctual. So as she grows, if it's assuming it's happening quick enough, her bones are like cracking as she's trying to grow inside a small space. How much control with the pain response, with the probably internal bleeding, like how much control does she have to shrink back down before it's too late and she's gone?
Yeah. Wild too that guy was just like, I'm gonna eat you.
Yeah. He took a bite out of a couple people. Took a bite out of Rex's hand.
Okay, so then Rex is left all by himself now. And
he goes off, dude. I've seen so many people with posting like define clutch, and it's like a picture of Rex fighting the
he was doing good. A lot of his like explosions though were not landing at all. But he was still handling himself. I mean, it was 2v1 at that point, right?
Yeah. Then he
lost his hand.
He unveiled his special secret ability that not a lot of people would have known about. They hadn't read the comics, which the ability to explode his skeleton, because he activated the bones in his hand, the potential energy to ignite it and blow it up inside the head to finally win that fight.
Crazy.
It's a very last-ditch effort, like kamikaze style move, but it's a lot more powerful because it's his own like genetic material.
Yeah. And then before we talk about like what we think will happen with that, let's jump back over to Invincible in space with the Martians and the Sequids and all of them. Explain what's going on here.
So the Sequids took control of the human that the Shapesmith switched place with, and then they
knew the Shapesmith wasn't from Earth, but
they didn't question it.
They
didn't like.
I was like, isn't that like a security risk? Like, how did he get here? You know,
Cecil's knowledgeable. He's not responsible.
Yeah,
that does seem like something that they should have approached.
It's like, yeah, we've known that you're not who you say you are.
I mean,
but we don't care why.
It makes sense because he doesn't talk like a human. He's like, I'm a human, born of Earth. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's obvious that he's not.
Yeah, it makes
who
sense.
he says,
Yeah.
But it seemed like they should have looked into that a little more. But anyways, all of this is because of him.
Yeah, it would have been. I mean, it would have been hard to assume that the repercussions for him showing up on Earth were as terrible as they are.
Because I mean, he's trying to do good. He's being a hero, you know, like.
And like, what actually happened is like a world-ending threat. Like, it seems unlikely that somehow this one guy came to Earth. Like, the chain of events are so crazy that led, because one human host on Mars for the Sequids is enough for the Sequids to completely take over. They're like
because there's millions of them.
Yeah, they're that working class that only they're enslaved on Mars only because they can't. The mutating Martian skin can't allow them to take control of Mars.
Yeah, they can't penetrate skin. They can't penetrate Invincible skin, and so they think they can't penetrate all the other members that went with them.
Without a host, they don't have the hive mind. Without the hive mind, they're like bugs.
So the only way to beat these guys, really, because you can't kill them all, is to get the host free.
Yeah. When you notice too, like when they
kill the host, right?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Or what I'm saying is that when they had that temporary moment of freedom from the Sequids where Robot did the sonic blast.
Yeah.
The two smart ones, Invincible and Black Samson, went straight for the astronaut. Everyone else was like, destroy as many as you can. And then I was like, no, like go
get the host.
Go for the host.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that they're a viable threat right now.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. They're a little overwhelmed. Maybe they didn't realize like how these are all working, but
they went into this scenario with no preparation whatsoever.
Their ship didn't have guns.
Yeah, their ship didn't have guns. They didn't think to ask Shapesmith, like, what are we facing? How does the Martian ship work? Until they're like within firing range. And now he's like, they will fire missiles at us. Like
There they are.
they didn't like, they should have debriefed him on the Martian tech, on the Martian people on there, on the Sequids, which he knows a lot more about. Like, get the host would have been good information.
Yeah. Right? But the way that whole scene is wrapping up is Eve is protecting them all, right? And Robot is outside of his robot, and he's trying to make a bigger signal for that blast that knocks them out. And
I think it ended with like Eve unprotected, her
it shattered,
armor
right?
shattered, her shield, and now they're like kind of
Now what?
they're in a bad
Getting
spot.
swarmed,
Getting
yeah.
about attacked by a bunch of Sequids. So we're gonna have to see how they get out of that. Which big moment for Mark to shine.
Yeah. So before we go into like comic book spoilers and our predictions, you found the pages that some of this is from in the actual book.
Yeah, with your research.
So it spans across a lot of comics that this one episode kind of covers. So like right here, we can see Mark.
Look on the screen to see Arron displaying the comics.
Yeah, you can see Mark's outfit. Oh, this finger. The outfit
so
that
cool.
Andrew
Look at-
likes so much.
Ryan Otley is so sick. Like, look at the detail. Look at Mark's calves. Look at the shading on the shadows on the actual outfit.
He's so good. Yeah, and this is where Debbie meets Oliver, and she's stressed.
Just imagine meeting your, like, she's been confronted with having to take care of her ex-husband's love child, who also lied to her for like their entire relationship and killed
And then
people.
it jumps all of these pages. This is probably what, 4, 5, 6 issues?
Yeah, 4 to 6 issues probably.
And now they're in space with, you can see, wrong hand here, you can see Bulletproof over here. He's the one who hits the first little squid guy that alerts them all that they're there. He does the same thing in the comic here. So you like fast forward. Oh, and then this is the Lizard League stuff.
Yeah, it's happening simultaneously in the comics too.
Yeah.
That's because it makes sense. That's why they are stuck there by themselves.
I have this Instagram post pulled up from Invincible HQ. It's this kind of like promotional video that they made. They put out some pretty cool edits. And this one I thought was really cool because it shows the comic panels alongside the show's interpretation of it. So I thought it would be cool if we take a look of that real quick. So we got this one here.
There's tons of heroes on Earth. I'm sure they got it covered.
Omnipotent. Taking Ray as a guy. That is so cool.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that yet.
You're a
Thaddeus.
There's tons of heroes on Earth.
There's also on their page, if you scroll down a little bit, there's a picture of Mark Grayson as Paul Atreides. You see that?
This one? Oh, this one. That's funny. They have a good social media team.
No, they really do. It's super funny. They make great memes.
Yeah, they do. Okay, you want to talk about the Viltrumite reveal at the end there, and then we'll, from there, go into some possible spoilers?
Yeah, you said about the Viltrumite reveal with Thaddeus, which comic readers knew as soon as he walked on screen. Thaddeus, who's being voiced by the voice actor for Optimus Prime, by the way.
Which, I mean, I think everyone knows that.
It's pretty apparent when you hear his voice. I am Optimus Prime.
He's like, heroes, roll out.
He realized something that I was super excited to see doled out in the show, which is that the character of Alan the alien, voiced by Seth Rogen, he especially bred initially to fight Viltrumites, and he seems too weak. But the cool thing about his character is the more punishment, the more damage he takes and comes back from it, he just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So he has insane potential. Mark gets stronger throughout the series a lot, but so does Alan the alien. Alan the alien, like, each time he comes close to death, and I thought he was a goner when his eye popped out of his head in the comics. I was
like, there goes a good character.
But each time he comes back a lot stronger, and you can already see how much bulkier he is. He gets bigger. He's
You
huge.
haven't seen nothing yet.
But so he comes back stronger, and this goes in line with Thaddeus' plan, because Thaddeus, like he said in the show, is the only Viltrumite to ever rebel against the Empire. I mean, Mark hasn't really rebelled against the Empire yet, because he hasn't been a part of the Empire yet until this last season. They asked him to be the Watcher of Earth.
Yeah.
Omni-Man hasn't really rebelled against it either. He's just kind of left his post.
Yeah.
But Thaddeus, like, actively...
He's not trying to attack the Viltrumites. He's just running away.
And what I think maybe is since the fall of Argal, the original leader of the Viltrumites, I believe, is when everything started with Thaddeus. And we'll get a lot more backstory on Thaddeus that I don't want to spoil, but he wants to use the Coalition of Planets and Alan the Alien and anybody who will help, including eventually Mark, to try and stop the Viltrumites from conquesting the world. He knows more about the Viltrumites than anything. He knows about the state the Viltrumites are actually in, which I don't think has been unveiled in the show yet.
Yeah. I remember reading the comics and being like, he's a Viltrumite too.
And he's an old Viltrumite. The older they get stronger. So
Yeah. The better they look too.
They look so cool.
The salty hair.
So cool.
But
Okay,
so
those are two big reveals: the Alan thing and the Thaddeus thing.
yeah, a lot happened in this episode. It's a good episode to come back from.
I'm about to reread the comics.
You should. I thought about it a few times and then I'm like, oh man, I don't have time for that.
I'm gonna quit whatever else I'm reading and read them again.
Okay. Any predictions for the show? So this is where we can kind of get into some spoiler territory. So if you haven't read the comics and or you don't want the show spoiled, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Click the notification bell. We post every Monday and Thursday. But again, if you don't want to hear those spoilers, we'll see you on the next one.
So, spoilers. Kate's alive.
There's a 0.
Yeah, Kate Zero is out there somewhere. She's intelligently placed a separate Kate at a predisclosed location that is safe from harm so that she doesn't have to risk her life
Which
out in the
makes
field.
so much sense.
Perfect sense.
I feel like there's been a few people who have mentioned it to me. They're like, hey, why doesn't she just like have someone back at base?
It's like,
Man, like, why doesn't she?
Robert Kirkman already thought of that.
Yeah.
He thought of that in 2000.
Yeah.
But also her brother Multipol's out there. I think they've shown him in the prison where the Muller brothers are. I think he's underground. So her brother's out there. He'll be part of the story too, along with Kate. Will come back into the story. Like I said before, this part with the Sequids, in my mind, that I remember, is one of the earliest moments of Mark taking a leadership role. Mark starts to kind of direct people. I think the leader, de facto leader present at that scene is the Immortal, but Mark has a different approach from the Immortal, and he kind of like takes over, and people follow him. Like Adam Eve's, of course, going to follow him over Immortal. They're close, and then I think everyone else starts to take suit, and that's how I remember it in the comics. Is Mark kind of like takes control of the situation. I remember it as me thinking it's a big turning point for his character to like embolden himself and take that move after his father leaving Earth, especially like for him to be like, he's a Viltrumite, he's probably the strongest person on Earth, so step up into that leadership role is a big deal. He can't be a follower. If he's the strongest person on Earth, then he's Cecil's weapon if he's the follower.
Yeah, this is his moment.
Yeah.
His first test, kind of on his own.
He's a great character. He's meant to be more than a follower. He's never been a follower in the series. He wants Cecil to use him so that he can be most effective. Like he wants to be most effective he can be in the field. Cecil
wants
knows
to be a
where stuff's
teammate.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants to be a team player. He wants to help the people of Earth. But also, like his dad, he wants to operate independently because he's a force for
like a
good
freelancer.
overall. Yeah. Aaron loves freelance work. Let's see. What other predictions? Rex Blood's going to survive.
Yeah, what happened? I don't remember exactly what happens with the Lizard League at this moment.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, they're rewriting it a little bit but he's going to get out of it because we know that he sticks around until later. Spoiler alert. Rex dies in the Invincible Wars, blowing up his entire skeleton to kill one of the Mark Graysons from the alternate universes. And then
I'm ready to relive that.
And then Rudy, or Robot, takes Rex's name because he also has his genetic material to create his appearance. and
which is kind of weird.
he basically like he says he's taking it like to honor Rex, and he starts being called Rex Robot from then on, and it's so confusing from then on for us who have read a ton of issues with him being called Rex Robot to not call him Rex and not spoil that for other people watching, because I always want to call him Rex Robot and not Robot. That's like the first thing to come out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's weird. Do you think they'll keep that?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's a big part of the comics.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's not a big deal. His name could still be Rudy.
Man,
But
there's
I think
still
he'll stay.
so much that hasn't been shown. Oh, I can't wait.
Dude.
I can't wait.
I mean, Angstrom Levy hasn't come back. He's going to come
know.
back later in this season for sure.
That's what I said in the group chat with Zach. I was like, you haven't seen anything yet.
Dude, if they end this season on the Invincible Wars and they end it on like a lineup of marks floating in the air, I would fuck.
I don't even want to put that out there because we were so wrong.
Yeah, but I'd
about predicting that in the first place. But I mean, we're heading there this season or next.
That would be the perfect place to end the season.
Yeah, where all the marks show up.
Yeah. Because then season 2, you get Invincible Wars and Conquest. That's a whole season.
Best season of television ever.
Nobody's not tuning back in when you end the season with the setup to Invincible Wars. My jaw hit the freaking floor when they came bursting through the portals with all the Invincibles.
Dude, it was so cool. It was drawn so well.
That's the page I've probably spent the most time looking at. It's just analyzing the different costumes of the different marks and their mustaches and stuff.
That's the one that we've like talked about and like, oh, let's open the book and take a look at it the most for sure.
And then the Conquest fight second.
Like we almost know exactly where it is in the second compendium over there. Like our brain just gets there, you know?
Dude, that's gonna be the wow, look at Thrag. That's gonna be like the greatest season of television ever. If they put Invincible War and Conquest in the same season.
Dude. Let's go.
It's the two best arcs in the whole thing, and they're back to back too.
I'm excited. By the time this comes out, the second episode will be out.
Yeah.
So
another spoiler that we could go over too, comic related. I feel like I like to imagine there's some people listening to it who just like haven't read the comics and they're like, I love spoilers, give them to me. So I'll give you some more spoilers. The Scourge Wars. The Scourge Wars involve this group that I mentioned, the Coalition of Planets fighting against the Viltrumites. That might be called the Viltrumite Wars. Scourge is like the disease that kills Viltrumites.
That's right. Yeah.
But what I wanted to touch on about this is that this episode mentions how Mark wanted to come home and look at his dad's books because he think he left something there for him.
Mm-hmm.
But his dad didn't leave something like specifically folded into the book. The story within the book, he could buy the book at any store where Nolan Grayson books are sold and read the book. The details of the story have what his dad wants him to read. And it's through the different adventures talking about these space aliens called the Ragnar, talking about Scourge, talking about that death ray that just goes on, piercing everything. These are all weapons that are able to harm Viltrumites, and it's their best chance against fighting Viltrumites. So it's like a backup plan that Omni-Man put into effect by writing this
going
into
to collect
his
the
books.
Infinity Stones.
Basically, the anti-Viltrumite Infinity Stone. So when Mark reads this and discovers these clues, he'll get all these weapons that they can use against Viltrumites to give them like a fair fighting chance against like the strongest people in the galaxy.
You know what I'm also excited for? When Alan and Nolan get like arrested and they're on that jail together.
When they break out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll
team
be
up.
really cool.
Dude, they're so strong.
And then by that time too, Alan is like huge.
Yeah. Is that so? That's one of the things you're looking most forward to.
That'd be really cool. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Invincible Wars and Conquest is #1 excitement level.
I'm excited for the dialogue in the scene. One of the first things that come to mind for me, other than what we said, is I'm excited for the dialogue in the scene with Angstrom Levy when he does like the home invasion with Debbie, and I think Adam Eve's there too.
When's that electric guy come back or come into play? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it's not for a while. I don't know when it is.
For some reason in my head, that's alongside Angstrom Levy. Is it not?
He's like not as big of a villain as Angstrom Levy, isn't he?
No, but I thought there was a scene
He like fights
with them together, and like Mark had to make like this decision or something.
I'll have to look.
Maybe I'm
so many
blending it
issues.
together. Yeah.
But I'm so excited for that home invasion because I know that Sterling K. Brown and Stephen Yeun, dude, they're going to be some intense dialogue in that scene where he's holding his family hostage. Man,
So good.
there's some really good deliveries in this episode too.
Yeah. I'm glad it's back. And I'm very excited to watch the next episode. For us, it comes out in 2 days. For everyone watching this, it's already out. if you watch this far, let us know in the comments if we should do an Invincible episode weekly as these are being released, or if we should just wait till season 2 is done and then do a full recap of season 2. Thanks so much for watching. I'm sure most of everyone left before this, and so I don't think there's as many comic book readers out there as there are people who watch the show. But for those of you who are still here, thank you so much for watching. Again, we post every Monday and Thursday. I almost said Thursday first, which Thursday, Monday, that's weird.
You're a maniac.
Yeah, well, Thursday for us does come up next, and then Monday. So, but
Don't justify your behavior, you animal.
we have social media.
Yeah,
I don't know if you do, but if you do, you should follow us. Backseat Directing.
Follow us on TikTok before TikTok gets banned in the U.S.
That's right. Our last hurrah.
But we're everywhere. You can follow us anywhere. If TikTok goes down, just follow us on another platform.
Also, our Spotify is back, baby.
Yeah.
We're back.
It's back,
For those 10
baby.
listeners out there, we did it just
Yeah,
for you.
just looking through, one of the episodes had like 24 plays. One of our last ones that got posted. So
Dang, I'm really sorry that it disappeared there
Sorry,
for a
guys.
little bit. But we're back.
if you're listening to this on Spotify, we apologize. We had some technical issues for a couple weeks, but Aaron figured it out.
We're back.
Tech genius.
All right. That's it. And
That's
a wrap.
That was a really long pause after you said it.